Good morning, good afternoon, I guess. We're walking to the golf course right now because there's a Charizard at the Pokestop here, but I also have 3 eggs about to hatch. These are my last 3 from the increased Gen 2 event, so hopefully I can get a Pichu out of these. There's a Charizard there. Light is green, let's go. Tentacool, one more chance. Start you, okay. So, no more increased odds of Gen 2 Pokemon for me. Okay, here it is. Look at this cluster. 2 Charmanders and a Charizard. 3 Charmanders. There's another one hidden inside of it right there. The golf course is actually a Charmander nest right now. Again, you can't actually go on the golf course and play. But what I'm going to do is start a lucky egg, because this is going to be my 7-day streak. 652, perfect. I didn't want it to be difficult to catch because I've already lost 2 during this event, and I'd actually like to keep this one. Got it. 2 balls. Not bad for a 7-day streak. 5300 experience. Wing Attack Dragon Claw. Not an exciting moveset, but this will be my 7-day Pokestop. I'm going to catch the Charmanders now. Oh, one of them disappeared. Catch the Charmanders, and then on the way back, I'm just going to start evolving stuff because I have a lot of Pokemon stockpiled for evolutions. And I'm just going to use the rest of this lucky egg to get as much experience as I can. Now, I don't really need any of these. With the rest of this egg, I'm just going to start evolving stuff, and I'll check in with you guys at the end of the egg. On the egg. I'm also uploading yesterday's video right now. I know it came up late. I'm sorry again for that. I meant to edit last night and put it up this morning so that I could be back on schedule, but something came up that prevented me from editing. So I had to edit this morning, and here it is. Now, egg is done. Let's see how much experience I gained from that. 48,550. So with that, I'm a little less than halfway to 31, and I still have a ton of evolutions left to do. I could keep going with that. Look at this. Plenty of Ekans to evolve, a lot more rats. What else do I have? There's just a lot of stuff that I can evolve that I just haven't evolved in a long time. So I'll probably start doing that just to level up a little faster because I know I've been slow at it. But for now, before we go any further with this episode, I'm going to take a shower and shave because this is getting annoying and looks really bad. Okay, with that all taken care of, let's get into the meat of today's video. I want to talk about a site called Tripledex, and Tripledex is going to be a great resource for choosing which Pokemon to use in gym battles. It's going to be a great way to figure out which Pokemon are good counters to other Pokemon. So this is what it looks like. It's a really simple layout, and all you're going to want to do is choose the Pokemon you're interested in learning about. Let's choose one of the top gym defenders. How about Snorlax? So once it loads, it's going to give you all kinds of information about the Pokemon. A lot of this is available in other places from other resources, but here you go. Fast moves, Zen Headbutt, and Lick. It tells you their energy gain, the power of the move, the duration, and its damage per second. Same with charge moves, energy cost, power, duration, DPS. And then below that, it gives you the moveset damage per minute. So this is the same sort of metric that Professor Kukui's spreadsheet uses, where it calculates the DPS of the moveset and then multiplies that and sees how much damage that moveset will deal over the course of a minute. Which you guys know I don't really like too much as a way of calculating damage or comparing damage. because with some movesets, you're going to be using a charge move at 1 minute. With some movesets, you'll be right before using a charge move, so you won't get that full damage from the charge move. This is a little bit more accurate than Professor Kukui's spreadsheet because the creator of the site told me in an email that he sort of like averages out that damage. So if during the last 10 seconds or so, a Pokemon can get through half of its full move cycle, he'll just take half of the entire damage of the cycle so that you're not losing that entire charge move, but still it's not exactly accurate. Below moveset damage, you'll find types, resistance, and weakness. So Snorlax is weak to fighting only. It tells you the modifier for that. It resists ghost only, and there's the modifier for that. Now, scrolling down past that is where things get really interesting, in my opinion, and where this really becomes the most useful. Takes most damage from. This tells you which Pokemon are going to deal the most damage to Snorlax. And keep in mind, this is damage per second. This is just straight up damage. This isn't exactly which Pokemon are going to be the best against it, which ones are the most efficient. This is the Pokemon who are just going to deal the most damage, the fastest damage, to a Snorlax. At the top, of course, is Alakazam with Psycho Cut and Psychic. As we know, it's one of the strongest Pokemon in the game now offensively. Right below that, 3 Dragonite movesets, all with Dragon Breath. Fifth on the list is Gyarados with Bite and Hydro Pump, followed by a Charizard with Wing Attack Fire Blast, then a lot of Water Gun Hydro Pump Pokemon. So you can see here, Primeape, all the way down here, is the first fighting type Pokemon who's listed on this list, which tells you that fighting types are not good counters to Snorlax like they're intended to be. I have an entire video dedicated to this subject, and one of the most obvious ways that Niantic could fix this is by making type advantage worth more than just an extra 25% damage. If fighting types did an extra 50% or twice as much damage like they do in the main series games, then these fighting types would become much better counters to Snorlax. But, I mean, look at all the Pokemon who deal more damage to Snorlax without even having type advantage. Venusaur, Starmie, Charizard, Seadra even, Gengar, Arcanine. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to talk about triple decks. And on the right side, you can see takes least damage from. So this isn't as helpful as takes most damage from, because the least damage is going to be pretty much the same for every Pokemon. It's essentially a ranking of the weakest offensive Pokemon in the game. Currently that's Chansey, Onix, Seaking, Dugong, unfortunately, Farfetch'd, Togetic, Lickitung. I still want one, regardless. But below those two lists, you get to offense. Now this offensive section here tells you what type advantages normal type has. It's not the most useful here because Snorlax doesn't have, because not all of Snorlax's moves are normal type. But normal, you're going to see, is doing reduced damage to Rock, Ghost, and Steel, and doesn't have type advantage over anything on this side. Here is another somewhat useful section. For offense, here's another useful section. It's going to tell you which Pokemon Snorlax deals the least damage to, and with which of its movesets. Again, this side is sort of just a ranking of the highest defensive Pokemon. Cloyster has the highest defense in the game, Onix is second. So Snorlax with Zen Headbutt and Earthquake is going to deal the least damage per second to a Cloyster. Snorlax with Zen Headbutt and Body Slam is going to deal the least damage to an Onix. But again, this isn't the best ranking because it doesn't include those Pokemon's HP stats. In this case, Onix has much lower HP than Cloyster. So in this case, even though Cloyster is listed lower here against a Snorlax with Zen Headbutt and Body Slam, you would actually probably beat an Onix faster with Zen Headbutt and Body Slam because the Onix has less HP overall. But then here, on this side, deals most damage to. This is going to tell you what Pokemon your Snorlax is a good counter to. So in a gym, if you come across a Wigglytuff, a Snorlax with Lick and Hyper Beam is going to deal the most damage to that out of all your Snorlax movesets. For a lot of Pokemon, you're going to see lower tier defenders here on this list, like Farfetch'd and Primeape. But in some cases, you do see things like Exeggutor. A Snorlax with Lick and Hyper Beam is going to be good against Exeggutor, which you do actually see fairly commonly in gyms still. So with everything explained, I think the most important, the most useful section here is takes most damage from, because that's going to tell you the best counters against a Pokemon that you're going to find in a gym. So let's look at something else. Dragonite. That's another Pokemon that's in almost every gym. We'll just skip straight to takes most damage from. So, this list obviously looks different than Snorlax. And I want to mention that this damage here is calculated using each of these Pokemon's actual stats. So this is how much damage a Dragonite is going to deal specifically to a Dragonite, not just a Dragonite with Dragon Breath and Dragon Claw in general. And that's why you see these ice types so much higher on this list, because ice is going to deal 1.56 times as much damage to a Dragonite who has double weakness to ice. So against a Dragonite, offensively, the best counters are Dragonite, unsurprisingly, with Dragon Breath and Dragon Claw, or Dragon Breath and Dragon Pulse, followed by the top 3 ice types. You have Cloyster and Lapras with Frost Breath and Blizzard, and those actually deal the same amount of damage because they have the same attack stat. But again, something that's not accounted for here is defensive ability. This Lapras is going to be more efficient against a Dragonite because it ends the battle with more of its HP. And then you also have Jinx, which is a very strong Ice-type attacker with Frost Breath and Ice Punch, but again, Jinx is going to be very fragile, it has low defense and HP stats. But take a look again at how highly Alakazam with Psycho Cut and Psychic ranks here, because it is such a strong attacker, it's right up there with the Pokemon who have actual type advantage over Dragonite. Now I just kind of want to test the accuracy of this, because all these calculations, all these rankings are done based on theoretical calculations, so I want to see how they rank in practice. So I'll just head to some local gyms and try them out. And we're hungry, so why not? 2 birds, 1 stone. First thing I'm going to do is drop a Snorlax in this gym, but I want it to be at the bottom so I can train against it quickly. 1855 is my strongest Snorlax below that. So on Triple Dex, here's the list of Pokemon that deal the most damage to Snorlax. Out of these, the highest one that I have is Gyarados with Bite and Hydro Pump. So I'm going to compare that to Machamp with Karate Chop and Cross Chop and see if Gyarados is faster at beating Snorlax than Machamp. At 4500 Stardust, my Machamp is either level 27 or 28. I'm going to power it up until it hits 5000 Stardust, so I can be sure that it's level 29, perfect. And then same for the Gyarados. I'm going to power it up until it hits 5000 Stardust, so I know they're at the exact same level. Alright, 5000 Stardust, so they're both level 29 at this point. So first I'm going to battle with Gyarados. I'm just going to attack as fast as possible. No dodging, because we want a reading of how fast Gyarados can beat this Snorlax, so we want maximum DPS. I'm also going to use charge attacks as soon as the bar is filled, and I'm going to use Cassie's Phone as a timer. So as soon as my first attack starts, I'll start the timer. So now this is one of those cases, 30.96 seconds. But like I was saying, this is one of those cases where I use Hydro Pump at the end there, but it would have been faster to just use 2 or 3 more bites and beat the Snorlax that way. But since Triple Dex measures in terms of full cycle damage over a minute, I'm just going to go for the full cycle, even if it would be faster to use Bite. So 30.96. We're going to go again with Machamp, restart the timer here. Same thing, just attacking as fast as possible, no dodging. And this should theoretically be slower than Gyarados, even though Machamp has type advantage. $35.59, so definitely slower. Now the one thing that Triple Dex doesn't tell you that I would like to see is the difference between each of these Pokemon. Typically when I talk about DPS and rankings, I like to give you guys a percentage so you can compare each Pokemon to the best. So in this case, Machamp is 13 places lower than Gyarados, and it took 5 seconds longer, but there's no way of really knowing that from looking. So Vaporeon versus Gyarados might be a difference of 1 second, it could be a difference of 4 seconds. You don't really know. But in that one test, it is at least an accurate list here. I guess I could try Vaporeon next, but first I'm gonna eat. Well, neither of the gyms are yellow anymore, so I'm just gonna take this one down really quick. Just a Vaporeon. I already know what I'm gonna use, but I'm just gonna see what Triple Dex says. I'm guessing it's Alakazam, followed by Dragonite, and then maybe Vine Whip, Solar Beam, Venusaur? Ah, Alakazam, Jolteon. I'm gonna put that same Snorlax back in the gym and then battle it with my Vaporeon now. This one might be slightly higher level than the other two. I'm not sure where I stopped powering it up, but it's around the same level. So I'm expecting somewhere between 30 and 35 seconds for this. Let's see how it goes. There it is, 33.61. So right where it's expected to be, between Gyarados and Machamp. There's also a park nearby that's a nest. It's a small nest, but it's never reported on the Sylph Road. And I thought I'd reported it at one point, but there's not even an unverified report there. So I'm just gonna head over, see what it is after the most recent migration, and report it, because that could benefit some people. Well, unfortunately, it looks like it's probably an Ekans nest at this point. Discovery Park is the name of it. This is the nest where Miguel and I first met, who sent me the hat the other day. Well, actually, we met over there, and he showed me this nest. I've gotten really good at hitting excellence on Ekans, but apparently it's not good enough. So I did actually open those packages, but this episode is already 18 minutes long, so I'm going to hold that footage off, and I'll just put another mail time episode together once I open a few more packages. So if you did send a package, I want to say thank you. I really appreciate it, but you guys will get to see me open those another time. For now, this episode is over. Go check out Triple Dex, use it, try to find some good counters. Let me know what you think of it. I'm sure the developer, the creator, will be reading through the comments. So leave your feedback there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.